Welcome to Game MizConduct. I'm CT here with Dory.
Hello.
Don't forget to follow us on social media. Search for Game MizConduct. And now we are on YouTube. Da, 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 da. So not only can you listen to the podcast like you have in the past, you can now also watch the video version and see our lovely faces on YouTube. I'll have to be honest, I got into radio because people didn't see our faces, but now we have to do that. So
and they'll also notice that you're always sweating because your office is so hot, and I'm always freezing and wearing sweatshirts and sweaters when it's 100 degrees out. So
they can't figure out how to get the air conditioner working in this office building, but whatever. Welcome to season 9. Can you believe it?
I can't believe it. I can't.
Another season. And we the season will start for the Lightning on the road at New York tomorrow. We're recording this Monday the 10th. The 11th they'll start their season with a 3-game road trip and then come back to Tampa for their first home game of the season against the Flyers at 7:00 on the 18th. It'll be on ESPN and also a new radio partner, 102.5 FM. And if you want to do like Dory does, you watch it on TV, mute it, and then you listen to the radio broadcast of Dave and Phil. So
yep.
Just remember 102.5 FM is where you'll be able to hear the radio broadcast.
Yep.
We're going to get into roster moves and how the team is going to look different this year. But before we do that, there was some breaking news last night, Sunday night, about one of the newest players to the team, Ian Cole, who's on defense. Mm-hmm. They were looking like he was going to be on the third defensive pairing. And some allegations have come to light, and I'll read the official statement from the Tampa Bay Lightning in a press release before we dive in a little bit more. But this is the statement from the team. The Tampa Bay Lightning is aware of the allegations against player Ian Cole and are cooperating fully with the NHL on an investigation. Our organization takes these allegations very seriously. While we continue to gather more details, we have decided to suspend Ian Cole pending the results of an investigation. No members of the organization, including players, will comment further at this time. So that's what we got.
Yeah, I think it's the right call. The Lightning do take things very seriously. They do care very much about the community, about their fans, about humans in general. So I will say that I have a lot of faith that the Lightning will do the right thing here. I know there's been a lot of things on Twitter, and of course, Twitter is not the beacon of humanity, but there are a lot of people that do not think the NHL will do much of anything to this. I can just say I fully believe the Lightning will.
Yeah, and the allegations are that he allegedly sexually abused and groomed a minor. If you want to Google the story, we're not really going to get into it, but if you're more than welcome to Google the story to read more on it, because it can be very triggering. So we're not going to do that. But just know that if you were expecting to see Ian Cole in the lineup, probably for the first game of the season, that is why he won't be there. And we'll just have to await the findings of the investigation and see what happens. But the defense losing Ryan McDonagh to Nashville during the offseason, Jan Rutta, it's going to look different. So let's get into the roster for this season.
Through most of the preseason, Victor Hedman has been paired with Cal Foote. Most people remember that Rutta was paired with him most of last year. Rutta had a fantastic year for Jan Rutta. He didn't have a Victor Hedman year, but nobody really has Victor Hedman years as much as he does. So, but it looks like it will be Cal Foote.
Okay.
Is what they say will be paired with Hedman. I think that's an interesting pairing. Cal Foote is an interesting player to me because very young guy. I think he's 24. We saw flashes towards the end of last year where it's like, great. Oh, interesting. So I'm interested to see how Cal Foot has developed. I know he has worked very, very hard in the off season. He said he has. So excited for that. And he gets to play with Victor Hedman. What
He'll learn a lot.
24-year-old hockey player. Yeah. And then the second line, which I think will quickly become my favorite, the second pairing, I should say, is Sergachev is now with his new 8-year extension.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to put a lot of more responsibility on him, which he welcomes.
Mm-hmm.
So he should be the left side of the second pairing, paired with Eric Chernak, one of our favorite players.
He's actually on my fantasy
wood.
team. I just joined an NHL fantasy league and I had my first draft last night, and Eric Chernak is the only Lightning player on my team.
So
putting that out there.
I read one of those silly quizzes or rankings or whatever it was that said that Eric Chernak is the number one defenseman that other teams don't want to go up against.
I mean, he is a big guy.
It's something like 83 hits last year. It was I wouldn't want to go up against Eric Chernak. So excited to see how he progresses this year. I really like him with Sergachev. I think that's fun. And we did see it a little bit last year, but hopefully, Chernak stays healthy and everything's good there. Mm-hmm. The third line, as we mentioned, was likely Ian Cole and Philippe Myers. I believe Myers is still going to be the guy, but maybe, we see him put Hayden Fleury in there.
Yeah.
I don't want to start. Yeah. I
speculating.
mean, speculating what's going to happen. And as far as forwards, I guess I have to say Ondrej Palat is no longer on our team. But could not be happier for it. I think it's a great opportunity for him. He's obviously getting paid well, and that's great. And we will not be with Anthony Cirelli. He will not be on the team. Bogosian, if anybody was wondering, he's also injured, so we're not going to see him opening night either.
Okay.
But Anthony Cirelli is, I think he's going to miss some time.
Yeah.
Which
we talked about the injuries at the end of last season.
We did.
So he's probably still recovering from that, but hopefully we'll see him in the next couple months, if not sooner. But some new names on the lineup.
And an old favorite of yours that I wonder if people were here in the very beginning of Game MizConduct, they will be probably like, oh, yeah, because you were big on this kid.
Yeah. So Gabriel Fortier is new to the team. A left winger, and we have the return of Vladislav Namestnikov, who had a hat trick one of the last preseason games. So welcome back, Vladdy. He's kind of gone to New York, and then was he in Detroit, I feel like, or somewhere, and he's made his way back to Tampa. A familiar face.
You like that kid when he was a baby.
He's great. He's a great center. We just didn't have room for him because all these kids were coming up. So those are the two that will look familiar and not familiar in the lineup. But we have Pierre-Edouard Bellemare coming back, Ross Colton, Brandon Hagel, his lookalike Braden Point, Alex Killorn, who's a fan favorite, who there were some questions whether he was going to get traded or not during the offseason. Kucherov should be starting the season. Pat Maroon, my personal favorite. What's up, Pat? Nick Paul, Corey Perry, who, I was resistant towards, but love the guy, love how he plays. And of course, the captain, Steven Stamkos, and in net, Ondrej Vasilevskiy with his backup, Brian Elliott. So some new faces, but most of them there were big shakeups. Like losing Ryan McDonagh was a huge loss, but there just was no way to keep him under the cap. But I think he has a great opportunity in Nashville. They're a very good team, and he'll get a lot of playing time. Not like he wasn't here, but he's a fantastic player. Ondrej Palat, like you said, there are a lot of one of the Hughes brothers is up in New Jersey with the Devils. I think a player even gave up his numbers so Palat could keep his number. I think I read that over the offseason. So a young team up there, and not rebuilding, but trying to figure out where they stand.
What happened? I mean, if people remember a few seasons ago, they were battling the Lightning in the playoffs, and it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was a very good series, and then they just fell off again.
Yep.
So yeah, really strange. But Palat is such a leader, and he's such a good hockey player that they really got a gem. So what player are you most looking forward to see progress?
As I sneeze.
Sneeze.
Let's see. I really enjoyed watching Brandon Hagel and Nick Paul last season. But I'm kind of interested to see how Vladdy Nemesnikov works his way into the chemistry of the team.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
And I just can't wait to see Pat Maroon on the ice again. So
I know.
that's mine. What about yours?
I would like to. I'm interested to see how Braden Point comes back from that injury that kept him out so long the end of the season. So I'm interested to see how Braden Point comes back and how Nemestikov fits back in. And I think most on forwards looking forward to see if Nick Paul is the real deal.
Yep. Agreed. Mikhail Sergachev, I'm interested to see how he steps up into this like new leadership type role. It was usually Victor Hedman and Ryan McDonagh really leading that defense. And Mikhail Sergachev has a great opportunity. I saw him when he got re-signed. I think it was on NHL Network. He did an interview and he was saying all the right things. And I mean, he's been able to learn behind so many great leaders that I'm really kind of excited to see him take this next step in his career, because he's still young. I mean, the guy, he's still
25.
He's still a young guy. So excited to see him sticking around for a little bit longer with that new deal. So other than that, Dory, what do you have to say? I mean, I'm excited for the season. The teams are going to look very different. There are a lot of players that have announced their retirement, like Zdeno Chara, PK Subban. So and teams are going to look different. Was it Johnny Hockey? Johnny Gaudreau has changed teams, I believe, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There are some big names that have moved teams.
Yeah.
Couple of them are escaping me. I'm now on an NHL fantasy league, which I don't think anybody saw coming. I will tell you. So my team, if you are familiar with the show on Hulu called Shoresy, it's a spinoff of a Canadian television show called Letterkenny, which I highly recommend both shows. But Shoresy, the hockey team in that show, it's a hockey team and they're going to fold, and the one guy promises he's not going to lose. It's a minor league team in Canada and it's just fun. But the main character Shoresy, he says, yeah, so like before he talks. Yeah. So my team name is the Yassos.
It's so good.
And I'm in a league with a lot of Lightning fans. So I went for the non-Lightning players for my team because I knew they would take them all. And so I was like, let me expand my portfolio a little bit. However, I could not take Nazem Kadri or Tom Wilson or Brad Marchand.
No.
I'm not allowed. I'm not ever taking them on my team. I don't care how good they might be for fantasy. I'm not doing it. But Eric Chernak is the only Lightning player on my team. So
nice.
It'll be fun. I have both Hughes brothers, Jack Hughes and Quinn Hughes, on my team. So that'll be fun. But it's going to be a fun season of hockey. And it's the Lightning's 30th anniversary. It goes by quick.
I remember when it was their 25th anniversary.
Yes. And they won 2 Stanley Cups between their 25th and their 30th. So let's go for it again. Wipe the slate clean from last year. It was tough seeing the Avalanche raise the cup in our house, but I think this team is going to be really hungry. And I feel like they think that they have something to prove, even though they're a great team and they really have nothing left to prove in their minds. I think they're going to feel like they have something to prove, which should make for a really great and exciting season. Again, don't forget to follow us on social media. We're going to come to you with new episodes every week. And we're, like we said, live on, or not live on YouTube, but we're posting the podcast on YouTube. So you'll be able to watch the podcast if you want to as well. Dory, anything to say before we wrap our first show of season 9?
No, looking forward, like you said, to the season. I do want to say that I find it very cute. I'm going to use the word cute. That the Florida Panthers, you know, that old thing that Patriot fans used to say way back in the day about Tom Brady, like they hate us because they ain't us.
Yeah.
That's basically the Panthers right now. They're trying so hard to be the Lightning, and they have gone on record basically saying they hate the Lightning. So that's fine.
Okay.
I just find that fun. I find that fun. I like that little in-state rivalry, which has become a rivalry.
And I feel like the league has been wanting this rivalry for so long, and now they've got it. So
they were trying to make fetch happen, and they made fetch happen.
Well, and the second home game no, wait, I'm sorry. No, they play the Lightning play in Florida, the first regular season game on the 21st.
Yeah.
So the Lightning are home on the 18th, away in Florida on the 21st, and home on the 22nd, first of the back-to-backs, against the Island in Amalie Arena. So they tried to make fetch happen. I love that. They tried to make fetch happen, and they finally did. So
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you never miss an episode, and leave a 5-star rating and a review, and we will catch you next time.